Hi, this is Scott with Android Guys, and I'm here with Luke.
Hey, everybody.
Luke, we've been doing a series on different carriers and helping listeners and followers to figure out what are the best phones for these carriers.
Sure. Yep.
Today, we're going to discuss Reach Mobile.
Yeah.
We've covered them in the past under our 7 Things to Know series, where we kind of give people an idea, like a broad strokes, to understand a little bit more about the carrier they may have seen but don't know much about.
Sure.
And as part of that, part of the conversation is, can you buy a phone from this carrier?
Right.
And this particular one, you can.
Yeah.
And so what we've gone ahead and done here is we've looked through a number of user types or demographics, target person, to determine what is the best phone for their needs.
Sure.
And as you know, everybody has different needs.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to kind of qualify this on entry level and then flagship, high end.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to go with something somewhere in the middle of the all around best package kind of thing. And then at the end, we'll also talk about folding technology.
Yeah.
There are, this is one of the carriers that does have folding phones as part of its portfolio. So we've picked one out in particular that we think is worth the look.
Yeah.
So let's start with entry level.
Sure.
Luke, an entry level person to me says, I don't know what I want to do with my phone yet.
Right.
This is actually my first one.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have had a phone and I just really don't care for much. I don't worry about pictures. I don't get on social media. I just want to text, stay in touch with my family.
Yeah.
Browse the internet, maybe email. Nothing fancy. Yeah, I'll take some photos. I might listen to music. And I might play some very basic games. Some Bejeweled or some Doodle Jump or, just something kind of passive, nothing flashy. So what would you recommend to listeners who are saying, hey, that sounds like me. I'm an entry-level user.
Yeah, I want a phone that's going to work well, but I don't want to break the bank.
Yeah.
They actually have a couple different options for an entry-level phone, but the one we settled on of probably the best place to start is the Motorola G Power.
Yeah.
So this one it is the 2022 model. So the G Power, they've had a couple other versions of that.
Yeah.
But this is the latest model. And this comes in at $249 from Reach. They do have, with all the phones that we're going to talk about today, they do have deals that when you sign up for service, you can do some payment plans through Affirm. So their pricing seems maybe a little bit higher than some other MVNOs we've talked about in the past, but that's because you're paying for the phone, but then you can subsidize that pricing and spread out those payments if you want to, but they don't offer any kind of handset incentives or anything when you sign up with them. So this one comes at $249, the Motorola G Power. This one has a 6.5-inch screen. It's got 3 cameras on the back. It's got a front-facing camera. It's got 64 gigabytes of memory. It's got 4 gigs of RAM. It's got some splash resistance. It's an IPX4 splash resistance. This thing will only go up to a 4G LTE data connection. So it's not going to be the super fast data connection. The 5G is, the latest. So it still will work. It's still 4G and it's still fast, but it's not high speed as people talk about now. But this phone, it's got everything that you see from modern phones, whether it's gonna have the processor to get you through. It's also got a 5,000 milliamp battery, so it's plenty of juice to get you through the day. That's more of the reason why we picked the Power versus some of the other Motorola's, is because that's for the processing speed that this phone has. That battery isn't going to have a lot of heavy lifting to do.
Right.
And for it being a 5,000 milliamp battery, it's going to last you all day, no problem.
Yeah, they actually touted as up to 3 days.
Yeah.
And that, obviously mileage varies based off of the user and the day, but that's among the high end batteries, just in general in the market.
Yep.
So if you can get that much, but then again, to your point of this isn't a high end performance thing, so it's going to kind of sip at that battery.
Yep.
It's not going to kind of blow through because you're playing some games.
Sure.
And again, you look at the target user who says, I don't do a lot with my phone. I might pull it out a couple times a day to just kind of stay in touch with things.
Yeah.
You're not touching that battery. You know how long that's going to last.
Right.
So yeah, that is a good phone. Motorola G Power. That's the 2022. There again. These are our starting points. There are plenty. Reach Mobile has actually a pretty decent selection.
They do. They have a lot
for picking out some kind of phone. Motorola does a really good job of keeping Android nice and clean with a couple of extras.
Yep.
This is an Android 11, so this is pretty current.
Yeah.
It is a 2022 phone. Software, technically you're talking about Android 13 here before too long.
Sure.
But again, you go back to the user. How much do they care? How much do they know about software? Do they even know what an Android 11 is?
Sure.
They just know that it's an Android phone.
Right.
So Motorola G Power 2022, that's about $250 from Reach Mobile as the entry-level phone.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go all the way out to the other end.
Sure.
And look at flagship.
Yeah.
This is the person that says, hey, man, I'm looking for all of these things.
Right.
I want a lot of storage. I like large screen, battery. Camera is important to me. I want to take a bunch of pictures, maybe even portraits. I care about gaming. I want things to look fast, smooth, buttery.
Mm-hmm.
Give me all you got.
Yeah, right.
So with Reach, there's a handful to choose from at that level, at the high end. What did we end up deciding here for the flagship user?
Yeah, so for the flagship phone, we're going to pick the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra 5G. So this is the best phone available at Reach. So the S22 is out. That is the current version of the Samsung Galaxy S series. But Reach does not have that. They have the Samsung Galaxy S21 series, and the Ultra is the best of the 21 series. That one comes in and ticks all those boxes, right? So it has a 5,000 milliamp battery. It has multiple cameras on the front and back. It has an octa-core CPU.
Yeah.
It's the Snapdragon 888 5G. It's a super fast processor. 6.8 inch to screen. 6.8 inch display. Yep. So it's a huge screen. It's got fast charging. It has
it's water and dust resistant.
Yep, water and dust resistant. IP68. It's got 12 gigs of RAM. So that's one of the highest amount we've seen in phones in general.
Yeah.
128 gigs internal storage. It runs Android 11.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the 5G data. So it does everything. It does everything a phone can do, really. Yeah. I mean, it does everything. It also has wireless power share too. So if you want to charge somebody else's phone, or if you're charging some earbuds or something like that, you can use that battery that's on your phone to charge those other things.
For all practical purposes, the 21 Ultra compared to what the 22 might have, you're starting to get in the weeds with numbers.
And really, when you're looking at those, it's slight improvements.
Mm-hmm. You're looking at a little bit more here, but you're not looking at a feature that says, this is the reason you want to hold out for, or do you want to go and buy that phone directly? So if you're looking for best of the best at Reach Mobile right now, you're going to be looking at the Galaxy S21 Ultra.
Yep.
That's a 5G phone, and it's about $1,100. But as you mentioned, you can do payments if you want to split that up through a firm.
Right. So
you can spread that out over, a year and a half, keep that in line, which is very common among a lot of carriers now.
Yeah.
So now let us find something that says, okay, I think I'm somewhere in the middle.
Sure.
I like what I'm hearing on some of that. I don't know how important it is to me, but I do want to make sure that I kind of cover my bases.
Sure.
I don't want to buy a phone every year. If I can get something that's going to get me a couple of years, what is something that, what did we recommend for that type of user?
Yeah. So for the best all-around phone, best bang for your buck or whatever, at Reach Mobile, we're going to say the Google Pixel 5a 5G.
Mm-hmm.
So again, just like with the Samsung Galaxy series, it is not the current model. It is, we have seen the Pixel 6 and the 6 Pro, and then there's rumors, as of now.
Well, the 6A is coming.
It is coming. It's just not out yet
as
of recording.
Yeah.
So the 5A 5G is the best at kind of that budget realm of Google.
Yeah.
So this one has 2 cameras on the back. It's got a 12.2 megapixel and a 16 megapixel camera. It is a 4680 milliamp battery. So it's like a 4700 milliamp battery.
Yeah.
It has the Snapdragon 765 5G processor. So that's an octa-core processor also. 6.4 inch display. So it's a good size display. 18 watt fast charging.
Yeah.
An 8 megapixel front facing camera. It's got 120 gigs internal storage. Also running Android. It says Android 11 on the site, but it can run 12 no problem.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if it doesn't immediately update to 12.
Right. I'm sure there'd be an update. Yeah. Right when you turn it on. And since it's a Google phone, it's going to have access to even 13 probably when that rolls out officially. It's a 5G phone, so you're going to have that super fast data. It has an IP67 dust and water resistance, and 6 gigs of RAM. So it's got enough to power pretty much anything you throw at it. But you're not getting, are there better cameras out there? Yes. Are there more RAM available in phones? Yes. Are there better processors? Yes. So it's not the best of the best, but for the price point coming in at $449, it is the best phone you can get for the money.
And this is right where I sit in smartphones. I love reviewing and checking out new phones, but when it comes to my actual needs, when it comes to my recommendations to a lot of people, this is the A series of the Pixel line has been the one that I basically defend probably the hardest over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's really one of those things where you have to convince me, and people really can't convince me to start spending $200, $300, $400, $500 more for some of these features.
Sure.
As much as I like some of that stuff, the truth is I don't appreciate it.
Sure.
As much as other people might.
Yeah.
I would be more than happy with this 6 gigabytes of memory for probably at least another year or so.
Yeah.
For my needs. My needs haven't changed very much over the years.
Sure.
And for a lot of people, their needs are the same thing. I like to take photos. Pixel puts out one of the better cameras out there. Perhaps one of the best, just point and shoot and let the phone do the work for you.
Sure.
To your point about, maybe there are other ones out there that have better, technically, yeah, there are. And you can buy them also unlocked if you wanted to buy one.
Absolutely.
And say, hey, I'm going to bring it to Reach.
Yeah.
It's going to be compatible with it. But for somebody who just says, hey, man, what's the best phone at Reach? What would you recommend? Without having any other qualification of who that person is, I'm going to start here.
Right.
And then I'm going to maybe adjust based off of their needs.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say the best phone for the money right now there, Pixel 5a.
Sure.
That's for $450, that was an easy one for us to come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
So moving on to another category, and this isn't something that too many MVNO carriers offer.
Sure.
Is a phone that has folding capability.
Right.
there's only a couple of options on the market right now, and Samsung tends to hold the lion's share of what's available.
Yeah.
But there are multiple technologies. There's the flipping style clamshell, and there's the folding style book phone.
Right.
What did we arrive at for the best phone to choose from with folding capability?
Yeah, so we went with the latter. We went with the book style fold phone. This is the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 5G. And so Z Fold, Samsung has two, the Z Fold and the Z Flip. The Flip is the one that flips open like a flip phone, and the Fold is the one that opens into a bigger, almost tablet style device. So this one, it has a lot of features that kind of the mid to high end phones, but it's got a price point that's over the flagship. And so when you're looking at these and looking at specs, it's easy to go, well, that phone is really expensive and it's not as good as, this best phone at Samsung. Why is it so much? And you're paying for the technology. You're paying for that folding screen capability.
Yeah, the design.
So this one comes in at $1,499, so $1,500. But you get a lot of phone for $1,500. This does have a Snapdragon 888 processor, so that's an octa-core processor. Nice fast processor.
Lots of memory, lots of storage.
Lots of memory. 256 gigs of memory, 12 gigs of RAM. So you still have an incredibly high amount of computing power on the phone. Android 11. It is 5G capable. You're going to have a front-facing camera. It has 4 back cameras. A 4,400 milliamp battery, so not quite as big as what we've seen from the other ones. This display, when it's folded out into kind of like that tablet style, it's a 7.6 inch screen.
Yep.
So that's a huge screen. This one also has support for Samsung's S Pen.
Yes.
So it doesn't come with it, but the S Pen, if you don't know, is Samsung's stylus. So this has the capability when it's folded out like that to use it more as a tablet for taking notes or marking up pictures and documents and things like that. This also has IPX8 water resistance, and it's a cool device for the right person.
And the right person, when you think about like marking up notes, running 2 things at once, like an email and maybe messaging or web browsing, having these things, having the ability to jot down things or to mark up a document, that, there are certain people that hear that and think, oh, I need that. That's me. That's what I want to do. There aren't a ton of options in that space.
Sure.
But this is one that, really kind of, if you're a multitasker, high productivity, maybe running as much business as you can from your pocket, this is a good option for that. And again, to your point of, this is a $1,500 device, it borders on the upper end of today's better phones. Not quite full, but you're getting something that you don't always have to have this thing open as a tablet.
Right.
It fits in your hand. It works as a standard phone as well. So it's a really cool device, especially for the right person.
Right. And you're pushing the boundaries with the technology too. So if that's an important thing for you, if you want to be one of the people that's using the latest and greatest technology, I mean, this one fits that. It's not, spec wise for pure, raw computing and processing power, it's not the best. But for the coolest or the newest features or kind of the most unique, it's one of the top.
Yep. And that's the Galaxy Z Fold 3. Again, that's a 5G phone from Reach. So those are 4 that we've come up with. Again, they have a really nice selection there.
They do.
And again, if you have a phone and you're just thinking, I'm ready to switch, I'm going to hold on to my phone. That'll be compatible with Reach as well. You can go to their website and check under phones for bring your own device. So those are the phones that we picked for Reach Mobile as of summer 2022.
Yep.
If you have any questions or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, feedback, concerns, comments, anything, shoot us an email at podcast@AndroidGuys.com. We'd love to hear from you one way or the other. Luke, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Luke Gaul, Gaul.
And I'm on Instagram at Scott Webster and Twitter as SWebster77. Until next time, thanks for listening.
See ya.